सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहैः। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। So last two times we did verses 4 and 5 where Krishna Bhagavan talked about all the different qualities of the mind. There were a lot of good qualities mentioned, and he said that all these come from me only. And now he's broadening his vision about for Arjuna, of course, to talk about the creation of the whole cosmos, and both actually, the cosmos as well as us. So it's like the macrocosm and microcosm. And he kind of mentioned that. One second. I want to make sure that he had mentioned the Saptarishi and all that, but the same idea he's expanding over here. So it's a little bit technical, little mystical, and I'll try my best to open it up and so that we understand and don't get confused. So verse 6. Maharshaya sapta purve chatvaro manavasthatha madbhava manasa jata yesham loka ima prajaha. Maharshaya. So this is like Maharshis, the great rishis. Sapta, 7. And there were earlier, Swamiji had mentioned that in Puranas they have different Sapta Rishis, but whichever way you want to look at it, name don't matter. The concept is more important here. So Sapta 7. Purve is ancient. Chatvaraha, the 4. And these are other 4 Rishis, Sanat Kumaras, and we'll see. Manavaha, Manus. We have heard of Manu Smriti. Everybody knows about Manu Smriti. These were the Manus, and there are a lot of Puranic stories, and it has double meaning. But here, the meanings are, more to do with qualities of minds and things like that. Tatha is also Mad Bhava. Bhava is like, Hindi mein bolte na, Bhava, Swabhava, those kind of thing. Possessed of powers like me. So because the whole creation is manifested from Bhagwan, so he's the one who gives his power to the other people. Whatever we have also, it's coming from him only. All the talents and everything. Manasa is from mind. Jata is born. Yesham, from whom. Loke, in the world. Imaha, these. Prajaha, creatures. So हम लोग बोलते हैं ना ये राजा और प्रजा, but Sanskrit में प्रजा means everybody, all of us. हम एक तरह से भगवान की प्रजा हो गए ना हम लोग. He is the king. Like in the Christianity, they say king of the universe. Here we call it Sarva Loka Maheshwara. So Prajam, all of us and all the creatures. So that's the word meaning. And to go, so different swamis bring out different way, and all are important, like I said. So we will see all different points. So here the standpoint the Bhagwan is talking about it. So he says that in the beginning, when the creation happened, all the great rishis and all the great manus and those Sanat, the Kumaras, the 4 Kumaras were born from my mind. So everything comes from his mind, and we will see what it means. So this word, it says Mad Bhava Manasa Jata. That's what it means. The entire creation rose from my own mind, Bhagwan's mind. So he was just explaining, that हम लोग हिंदी में बोलते हैं संकल्प करना. Like when we say मैंने ये संकल्प किया, means first I think about it, what I want to do, and then I execute it. So just think of that sankalpa bhava of that, Bhagwan. So just by willing that I want to do this, creation start happening because he has his Maya Shakti to do it, right? We also, whatever Shakti Bhagwan has, he gives it to us also to create. It is his ansh only. So we have to just remember that whatever happens at the macrocosm level happens at the microcosm level also. So he was explaining that the whole creation which we see is nothing but the result of Bhagwan's will. And then he said that in Bible also they say, there is a very beautiful saying, let there be light. Bhagwan said, let there be light, and there was light. So they have their own mystical language, but the meaning is the same, So what scriptures are saying that Bhagwan just thought, let there be creation, and there was creation. Of course, there is a process. But the first thing happened in his own mind. So what he was explaining very beautifully, Swamiji, that the pure consciousness has this power to will. There are 3 powers he talked about that he has. And then that same one get transferred to us also. Power to will, power to know, and power to manifest. So, और उसको संस्कृत में बोला गया है, 3 शक्तियां बोली गई, इच्छा शक्ति, ज्ञान शक्ति और क्रिया शक्ति. तो हम लोग when we say हम कुछ संकल्प करते हैं, वो इच्छा शक्ति होती है. फिर ज्ञान शक्ति, वो नॉलेज, हाउ टू डू इट, वो ऑल्सो भगवान से आता है. फिर क्रिया शक्ति, बिकॉज खाली सोच के ही बैठ गए हम लोग तो कुछ नहीं होने वाला. वी गॉट टू पुट इट इन एक्शन, राइट? Without that, nothing. So that kriya shakti is also very important. So, but then he was just, one caution he was saying that he was differentiating this ichha shakti from like a selfish desire. ऐसा नहीं है. Because there is संकल्प करना और selfish desire करना थोड़ा अलग होता है. क्योंकि selfish में ना थोड़ा me आ जाता है. I want to do this and all that. जग कल्याण का इतना उसमें नहीं होता है. मगर जो भगवान की जो इच्छा शक्ति है ना, इसे लेट दिस हैपन फॉर बेनिफिट ऑफ एवरीबडी. सभी की डिजायर्स को फुलफिल करने के लिए कोई प्लेटफॉर्म तो चाहिए ना. सो ही इज डूइंग इट फॉर दैट पर्पस. लाइक दैट वी हैव टू सी. सो द कॉस्मिक विल, देयर इज नो सेल्फिशनेस इन दिस, कॉल्ड इच्छा शक्ति ऑफ भगवान. सो फिर सेम थिंग, like those 3 I was talking about. Okay, power to appear or power in many different forms. That's what he is trying to do through his will, that he himself appears in many forms. So, but what Lord Krishna said, that all these things appeared in his mind. What appeared in his mind? And they came out of his mind, the 7 rishis. Okay, and then the 7 rishis, the main ones that we know, the names are like, Kashyap, Bhrigu, Atri, Bharadwaj, Vishwamitra, Gautam, Vashishta. Some of them, these are familiar to us, others may not be, doesn't matter. But they are symbolic of something, and that's what we are going to try to learn. So, and then he said 7 rishis, 4 brothers, and those 4 brothers are called Sanat Kumaras. You may have heard of their name. उनका नाम है सनक, सनंदन, सनातन और सनत कुमार. 4 भाई. And we will go a little more detail of who they are, who they represent. And then he talked about those Manavahas. Manavahas are called Manus. And there are 14 of them. And if you go in Puranic stories, they will talk about each Manvantar, the Manu ruled, and he made his rules and all that. वो Puranic story. But इधर symbolism दिखाया है. So these are all symbolic. And what they indicate is various aspects of the whole creation. That's what these guys indicate when he was mentioning about it. And then, and the Saptarishi, to sabhi ne suna hai word. So when he said Saptarishi, they are like, what are they? They represent the 5 elements. The Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal and Prithvi that we know very well. And then it's called Mahatattva, which is called the cosmic intelligence. Okay, that, and then Ahankar. And यहाँ पर हम लोग बोलते हैं ना, ओ भगवान को कैसे हो सकता है अहंकार? But अहंकार, don't take it in a negative way. To do something that I thought is very important. That individual thought is very important. Then you go forward with it. So this is a good part of the ahankar, not something like egotistic or anything. So it's called ahankar, the cosmic ego, they call it. Okay, so the 7 aspects of creations, that's what Saptarishis are. The 5 elements, the cosmic intelligence, जिसको महत्त्व बोला है संस्कृत में, and ahankar or cosmic ego. They are all born from the consciousness or manifest from the consciousness. Because any consciousness also has got this ability to do this Ichha Shakti and to be ability to be aware of itself. It is awareness that we have because, we are called conscious beings, right? So that awareness, usko Gyan Shakti bola gaya hai, kind of, So it's a little technical, just try to understand whatever you can and then we'll go from there. So basically just have this idea that pure consciousness is there. Usme se you get this cosmic intelligence, cosmic ahankar, and the 5 elements come out. Just think of it that way and that will be good enough for right now. Okay? And from that, these 7 elements, whole creation is coming. Means the ball is rolling from there, like you say, And then, so what are these Sanat Kumaras now? The same concept, put it in like us now, individual, subjectively. And they are called, I told you the name, Sanat, Sanandan, Sanatan, and Sanat Kumar. वो पौराणिक name दिए हुए हैं. These are 4 aspects of our inner equipment, which is necessary for anything. So what are those? And you must have heard of them very well. Man, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankar. These are the 4 different aspects. I think some other times we have discussed it, and even in all the Upanishads. This one, even if we memorize, it's good. Because this was going to keep coming again and again. These will keep coming. Man, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankar. So mana is, a little lower, lower part of the mind where you collection of data and all. Buddhi, that, the intellect, deciding factor. Chitta is something to do with consciousness and memory. All the memory that we have from the previous lives, everything, the impressions, everything that is in the chit. And ahankar is this I feeling when I feel like this is me and this is all my equipment, this is my body, and then I go from there. Usko ahankar bolte hain. So this is how we have to understand. 7 aspects are from the cosmic level, and these 4 aspects, the Sanat Kumaras, are individual level within us. And so individual जो हमारा मन बुद्धि चित्त अहंकार है ना, उसकी वजह से हम अपनी जगत क्रिएट करते हैं. हम लोग का हर एक का एक संसार है, right? And we do things in our, that's it, how we do it. But the main power is coming from consciousness itself. And the manus ka, nobody kind of talk too much about it, but just 14 manus are there, and the way Nikhilanandji explained, and we should just be satisfied with that right now, otherwise it will get too complicated, that these are different aspects of emotions and our mind and all that. Other parts of our mind को 14 manus बोला है. पौराणिक stories में कुछ और angle लिया, which is okay. So, but what we have to remember is that what Bhagwan is saying, these are all of these are born from Bhagwan's mind, the cosmic mind. Okay, so, and in all the sentient and insentient, everything is created by these 7 aspects. Okay, so that is the core of it. First is consciousness, then these 7 things, and then everything else comes. That's how we can see the sequence. So now we have to, kind of come to the conclusion that pure consciousness alone, from it only all this whole cosmos is born. They said, no, the material and efficient cause. So then this explains that, material and efficient cause. Efficient cause means the intelligence behind it. Material cause means what material the world is built. It is Bhagwan only, consciousness only. And then he kind of explained very interesting way, Nikhilanandji, that how do we understand this man, buddhi, chit, ahankar, this power in us? He said when we are in deep sleep, no creation is happening. Correct? Because we don't have connection with body and mind. हम सो गए या कुछ नहीं कर रहे हैं, right? ना खाना बना रहे हैं, ना घर साफ कर रहे हैं, ना काम पे जा रहे हैं, कुछ नहीं कर रहे हैं. So everything is in supta avastha, The moment we get up, what happens? These 4 are as though born. Immediately the 4 aspects come out, right? okay, I am there, ahankar, the good way, nothing bad about it. And then this awareness of I comes, and then what follows, the mind, buddhi, chit, ahankar, everything wakes up. Your memories, oh, who am I, and everything we know. And we start making decisions. चाय बनानी है, नाश्ता करना है, काम पे जाना है, जो भी करना है, we start doing that, all that. So this is how it is, that when the creation means, it's a symbolic thing, that suptavastha mein, nothing is happening. When you wake up, these four Sanat Kumaras wake up as though, right? They're symbolic. So I thought he explained it very nicely. And something very, very interesting, which I don't know how many of you know, that whenever they talk about these four boys, Sanat Kumara, they always show them young. They never get old. They are like little, they don't even wear too many clothes. Ek langoti pehen ke ghum rahe hain. They are like very good looking, sweet, small boys. And they're somewhere they show them 5 to 7 years age, something like that. Why? Because think about it. Really speaking, our mind never gets old. It's only the body gets old. Because that's why they say, hey, why do even the like all the old people, I'm in some senior groups now, let's have some fun, let's do this, let's do that, because we still are like childlike inside. We want to eat good food, we want to party, we want to do all that. The mind never gets old. And okay, sometimes koi bolega how memory, because man, buddhi, chit, ahankar, memory is lost, but that is more, the shell is getting bad, means our brain. But mind inside is all pure and good. In a sense, when you take another birth, the mind goes with it, right? Mind is ever young. Think about it that way. Very interesting concept, that mind doesn't get old, and all these four aspects do not get old, only the body gets old. And then he was just joking, Nikhilanandji, he said, it's like when your body gets old, the body cannot handle pakoras, Mind will say, nahi, kha le, bahut acha hai. I can handle. So the food, kabhi hum log, because hamara man karta hai, to hum kha lete hain, magar then the body cannot handle it. There's, oh my God, why did I do this? So we have that experience, that mind doesn't get old. That was interesting. That's why Sanat Kumars are young. Because everything they do, there is a reason behind it, why they show them young. Okay. So you can say that these Sanat Kumars are secondary creators in us. Okay. So, what other thing? Manus, I talked about, they're coming from mind. That's why I didn't go too much about Manu. Okay. So, in a nutshell, the whole creation is happening. Now everybody understood 7 rishis, 4 Sanat Kumaras, and the Manus are different aspects of the mind only. And then, what he said, that when our intellect and ego becomes quiet, then there is no creation. So like in meditation also, we just make our mind shant. There are no desires over there at that time, at least. So then no creation is happening, and we can establish ourselves in that self. That's the whole idea, right? So 2-3 points come out of this whole thing. That this whole world is, or cosmos that we say, is nothing but a play of Bhagwan's mind, and our dunya is play of our mind. Okay, that is the one conclusion. And then the entire experience which we get in life is nothing but these 7 things kind of expressing itself, and the core is Bhagwan. From there it's coming. And he just mentioned that in deep sleep and in Turiya Avastha, there is no experience of the world. We have not experienced Turiya Avastha right now, but that's what these saints and sages, they experience. But where, man jisko shant ho jata hai, bolte na, thair jata hai man. And deep sleep, we know, all of us, that in deep sleep this happens, but when we wake up again, our dunya starts. And then he was just saying, Nikhilanandji made a comment that all we try to do is keep trying to modify and change in the world. Ye karo, wo karo, which is okay. But what we have to remember is that rather than focusing on the change, go to the source where it's coming from. That's the whole trick. That source is God alone. This is a pathway to go backwards towards the source. And that's what we need to do. So this, and then in that journey, we will comprehend the truth when we go backwards rather than this way. So this is the whole thing. Any question or comment? Meena ji.
Yeah, I had a question. Manus, aren't these the laws? Because
Yes,
I think
yes.
they were the laws, and that's how the creation plus the laws that working through it, and that's how the creation is done. Is because of the laws, like the natural laws, that we don't even think of it.
So I think if I understood that more, the natural laws are more coming from the original expression of those 5 elements, right? What you are talking about, Manu Smriti and all, what Manus come a little later, is how to live in this world successfully. You know, the code of conduct in the social atmosphere and the time and place and things like that.
Okay.
So that's why these are the Manus come later on. The original is the Saptarishi.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Saptarishi, and then within us it's the 4 Sanat Kumaras, Man, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankar. And the Manus are uske baad, further expression.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is, Manus. And the most famous is the Manu Smriti. उसमें ये करो वो करो काफी कोड ऑफ उसमें काफी कंट्रोवर्सी भी होती है. Yeah. बोलते हैं वो ये you know, but obviously with time and place you have to change a little bit, but the core values remain the same. You know, like we saw in the verse 4 and 5, those values, whether it was 5,000 years ago, whether it's Christian, it's a Muslim, or it's Hindu, all the values have to remain the same. If you want to follow what the sages are saying. बाकी लोग गड़बड़ करते वो बात अलग है. And but जो दूसरे conduct होते हैं ना, that can change with time. Right? So that, yeah. So all those Manu Smriti and all, they have a lot of value, but there may be some things may not be applicable in today's world. You know, that's possible. Yeah. So what the way Chinmayananji explains that you should have a very solid foundation, but you should keep yourself flexible on the top. You know? So
according to circumstances and
yes, otherwise you say that you will be so rigid, you know, that you will be all in pain all the time. Yeah.
Secondly, when we talk about the Sanat Kumaras, so this is like a microcosm level.
Yes.
And the other one, total intellect and the total ego, is of the macrocosm.
Right.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, absolutely. So the 7 Saptarishis are at the macrocosm level, cosmic level.
Yes.
And then Swamiji is going to explain a little more because he took Swamiji ki language thodi difficult hai, so we will slowly go. But he explained that too, the macrocosm and microcosm. So within us, it's represented by Sanat Kumaras.
Okay, so that's how I felt when you were talking.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Okay, thank you much.
Any other question, comment? Okay. Volunteers to read? Sushil ji, okay.
The 7 great rishis, the ancient 4, and also the Manus, possessed of powers like me, were born of my mind. From them are these creatures in the world originated and sustained. The idea highly hinted at the second stanza is being taken up here to prove how the 7 seers, the 4 Kumaras, and the 14 Manus are all born out of Lord's own mind, and they together constitute the material and the efficient causes for the entire world. Since it is stated here, from them are the creatures in the world born.
So I explained the whole thing, right? That it's coming from Bhagwan's mind, and you know how the 7 seers, 4 Kumaras, and 14 Manus, that creates the whole cosmos, and they call it material and efficient cause of the entire world. Efficient cause is all the intelligence part of it, and material is, you know what material means, जिससे कुछ बनता है. So वो भी भगवान से ही आता है, and these all of them together is the cause of the whole cosmos, and they are cause of from consciousness. Consciousness is the cause for them and we are come from them. ऐसे भी सोच सकते हैं.
The seven rishis, the personified representation of the seven seers, as found in the Puranas, when rightly understood subjectively becomes nothing but one's own intellect, ego, and the five sense stimuli, which together constitute the world experienced by each of us. These items in the microcosm are expanded to the macrocosmic fullness as the total intellect, Mahat, the ego, Ahankara, and the rudimentary qualities in the five great elements, called the elemental qualities, that is Tanmatras,
Go ahead.
which are nothing other than the sense objects, the sound, the touch, the form, and the taste and the smell.
Okay, I think मेरे में वो नीचे लिखा था, but that's fine, that's good. So here Swamiji is just explaining again macrocosm and microcosm, and then that we have these five elements, and we have discussed it that our five senses are nothing but representation of those five elements, and each of our sense organ is directly connected with that element. We cannot, and without the grace of that element, we cannot function. Because we might have perfect eyes, but if there is no light, we cannot see. And then if we can have perfect tongue, but without water, we cannot taste. So that's what, without air, we cannot feel the touch. All those things are there. So he was just saying that how at the cosmic level also the same power is functioning. We also have the same thing, and it just says different things and expresses as different things.
Subjectively analyzed, it becomes very easy for us to perceive the implication of this allegory provided by the Shaman Rishi's picture. In the self, since it is all full, there must necessarily be potential thought disturbances. We know that the thoughts rising in us in their individual manifestations are incapable of disturbing us. At a certain moment, some desire in us gets captured, and identifying with it, we maintain it with a steady stream of dynamic thoughts. Thus dynamized, the initial thought becomes mighty and powerful enough to destroy our peace and tranquility. And projecting itself out creates the perceptions of and our reactions to the world of the five sense objects. The thought stream and its projections together supply us with both material and the efficient causes for our own tiny world of joys and sorrows, successes and failures, yearnings and fulfillment.
So firstly, Swamiji in the previous paragraph talked about at the cosmic level. Now he's explaining how creation happens for each one of us subjectively. So he's just saying that, just imagine that सुबह से शाम तक कितने सारे थॉट्स हमारे दिमाग में आते हैं, हजारों, पता नहीं, काउंट करने लगेंगे तो पागल ही हो जाएंगे. Right? The mind is always working until we are deep sleep. Yeah? कुछ ना कुछ, but not everything we go and do, run around and do, है कि नहीं? So कोई एक thought को पकड़ के, if I really want to get that done, so then I keep thinking about it and it causes disturbance, and then I go and do the action for it. That's how creation starts. So he was just explaining little further that what happens, So you can think about it that भगवान के साथ भी कुछ ऐसा ही हुआ होगा. भगवान ने बैठे बैठे बोला, अच्छा मैं एक हूँ, अभी मैं ना अनेक बनना चाहता हूँ. So then he kept thinking about that, and boom, all of us, came out. So whichever way you want to think. But I thought this was interesting that we don't think about all these things. So if we don't want to get disturbed, तो बोलते हैं ना कि वो, don't sit with that thought for too long. There is something good you want to do, please do it. There's nothing. But scientific process समझा रहे हैं, you know. And that's why there is a saying that, you know, that law of attraction, or some movies are there, those kind of thing, that if you want something in life, दिन रात उसके बारे में सोचो, एवरी पोर से सोचो, हो जाएगा वो. बिकॉज भगवान ने तुमको इच्छा शक्ति, क्रिया शक्ति, ये सब दिया हुआ है, you know. So how much you want, that depends on you, but universe can provide it for you if you really concentrated efforts.
The four ancients and the Manus. Sri Shankaracharya, in his commentary, reads this stanza as the ancients and the four Manus, and explains that the four Swarna Manus out of the total 14 are indicated here. These Manus formulated us the laws of behavior, private and public, for the individual as a decent person, as a member of the family, of the community, of the nation, and of the world. But there are commentators, the majority of whom consider the expression as the four great ancient and the Manus. This seems to be more acceptable in the context of subjective analysis, and this is recommended and ably supported by the next line, wherein the Lord says that all of them are children of my mind.
So not getting too much into the technical, just think about it, that in a 14 Manus, and like here the Meena ji's question is answered. There are law of behavior, private, public, and all those things. That's what Manus ka law hai. So whichever way you want to look at it, you know, symbolically, Saptarishi, 4 Sanat Kumaras, and the Manus together do the creation. Let's just think it that way, and then we are okay.
It is described in the Puranas, Brahma, the creator, at the very beginning of his creation, produced out of his own mind 4 eternal boys, Kumaras, Sant Kumara, Sanaka, Sanatana, and Sanananda. The creator in us is but the life in us, functioning through an urge to create in any field. Whenever the creative urge expresses itself immediately, the factors consisting the subtle body,
Antakarana,
express themselves and function in full vigor. When the creator of the whole universe comes under the urge to express himself, he has to maintain a consistent sankalpa, which immediately produces a channel of constant thoughts, creating the stuff for the inner instruments. This bundle of thoughts, flowing consistently, functions as the mind, intellect, ego, and chit. These 4 factors, expressing in themselves the total inner instrument, are represented here as the eternal boys of wisdom born out of the mind of the Creator at the very beginning of his creative activity.
It's a very long paragraph, but I think we got the picture. Sorry?
Somebody's at the door, so I need to go and
Okay.
that.
Okay.
So somebody else can continue.
Yeah, I think I see Meera ji. Are you there? I saw her. Maybe Meera ji is there or not? Maybe.
Yes, I'm here.
Are you okay to read today, or you're not?
Yes, I can read.
Okay. So anyway, I'll just explain this a little bit. So we already went through this, right? There's a long paragraph. Don't get too confused. All basically they are saying that this, you know, our mind, these 4 Shakti that we have in our mind, and those Shakti get dynamized after our Sankalp gets strong. If we have a thought and it turns into a Sankalp, I want to do this, then we need the support of those 4 things to move forward. Look at it this way. You know, Man, Buddhi, Chit, Ahankar we need, then our creation at our level starts. So the Shakti is coming from Bhagwan only, and it's called the inner equipment, Antakarana, and then this is how it is. So it is, once you understand, it's simple, right? Representation of the inner instrument, So Meera ji, you can start with thus in one, yeah.
Thus,
Exactly where are we? The
Yeah.
4 ancients?
The thus in one and the same stanza. I don't know, the page number may be different in your book.
Just
Page 22.
page 22. Okay.
Which paragraph it is?
Okay. Thus, in one and
Second paragraph, yeah.
yeah. Thus, in one and the same stanza, the macrocosmic samasti and the microcosmic vyasti causes for creation have been indicated. Macrocosmically, samasti, the total intellect, mahat, ego, ahankara, and the 5 rudimentary sense objects, tanmatras, supply the causes for the projection of the world and its sustenance, while microcosmically, the creative urge in us gets itself fulfilled through the intervention and play of our inner equipments constituted of the intellect, mind, ego, and chit.
Okay, so there are two words, samashti and vyashti. These are Sanskrit words. Samashti means macrocosm at a cosmic level. And vyashti means within myself, each one of us, microcosmic level. That's how we have to understand. So again, he's kind of summarizing the whole thing, that at cosmic level, you have those saptarishis and you need intellect, isko called mahat, ego, ahankar, and the 5 rudimentary sense, all means tan matra, means the 5 elements. Prithvi, Jal, Vayu, Akash, and all that. Agni. And then they supply the cause for the projection of the world. So the world is projected. And its sustenance. And they are sustained by that also. And within us, vyashti jisko bola gaya, our creative urge gets fulfilled through the intervention of our equipments. We need those equipments to express things in our world, intellect, mind, ego, and chit. Because one of them is missing, we won't be able to function. So that those 4 necessary things for us to function. These are our equipments.
The 7 seers and the 4 ancients thus together indicate both the efficient and the material causes for the macrocosmic and microcosmic world created.
So now he's just putting everything together. So everybody understood now. It sounded so complicated, but I hope it simply simplified it.
Those who are fed upon the superficial meaning of the stanza and hence remain familiar only with the word meanings of this portion may feel rather uncomfortable at our interpretation, since the usual method is more easier to grasp. That the rainbow is Indra's weapon is perhaps an easy and attractive poetry, but it is not scientifically true, nor is it satisfactory to the intelligent. Mysticism used in this stanza, if ignored, will make it very difficult to justify the 4th concluding section of the stanza, where the Lord says, of them, this world of creatures is maintained.
I think all he's trying to say that sometimes to explain this hi-fi concept, instead of just saying, the 5 tan matras, they were just Saptarishi bola, or, usko Sanat Kumar bana diya, young boys, ye wo karke, हमारे दिमाग में ज़्यादा घुसता है. We'll remember that lot more. तभी वो story form में, all the Puranic stories are like that the stories are so juicy that we remember them, and then the main concepts are given through that. Like why is this called Indra's weapon, rainbow? Bow. Because it is in the shape of that, and Indra Bhagwan is a Bhagwan of rain, and that it only comes when the rain comes. Rain and sunshine ka play hota hai, right? So वो इंद्र धनुष आता, तो उसको ऐसे ही बोल दिया. So all they are trying to say is that don't get stuck into something, because sometimes what I have seen, people get so caught up into कितने मनु हैं, क्या है, 14 कौन कब है, they waste so much time on it कि वो जो main उसका है वो ही भूल जाते हैं. We don't need to do that. It doesn't matter. That's why सप्तऋषि के भी नाम अलग अलग जगह अलग अलग है. शायद वो लोग लड़ने लगेंगे कि ओ नहीं इसमें तो ऐसा है, नहीं इसमें. What difference it makes? You call your grandchild, Adi, or you call him like Bablu or something. It doesn't matter. He's the same person. It's the same way. So let's not get caught up into that. Understand the meaning and move forward. That's all he's trying to say. In the connecting line, yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Meena ji.
Just one question. So they talk about the 7 rishis. So they're just the rishis are just named differently, but there's just the 5 senses and the intellect.
That is the symbolism behind it. Exactly. Yes. It's like something like this. Somebody will say, there are, क्या बोलते हैं, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh is there. Suppose, huh? So, कोई बोलेगा, कोई नास्तिक होएगा, बोलेगा, what do you mean Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh is there? Have you seen them? Suppose, huh? So, okay, forget. You have not seen them. But is there a creation happening in the world? He will say yes. Is there maintenance happening? Yes. Is there annihilation, destruction happening? Yes. So, okay, so वो concept को Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh बोला है. Whether you believe in that deity or not, at least you believe in the concept. That's how we have to look at this. That, उसको थोड़ा easy बनाने के लिए सप्त ऋषि बोल दिया, मगर वैसे वो 5 elements है that which we experience every day. I mean, fire, look at what is happening over there. It's such a, means sometimes you think that this is a most powerful nation. We have so many resources, but जैसे बोलते हैं ना, घुटने टेकने पड़ते हैं in front of the big elements. They're so powerful. Each one of them is like tremendously powerful. So we have to respect it, So that's what it is.
So the 7 rishis then are the 5 elements plus cosmic intelligence
And-
plus cosmic ego.
Correct. Yes, absolutely. You got it. Well, I'm so happy that you remembered those. That's the whole idea, Yes.
We don't have to remember all the names of them.
Not rishis, but the 5 concept, if you remember, and the ahankar and the intelligence, because that's what you need to create. Yes. Yeah. So this connecting line is there. You have it in yours? Why should one have?
Yes. Why should one understand these implications of creation from the standpoint of the individual and the cosmic minds? Listen.
So it just, sorry. और भी है क्या?
नहीं, बस listen करके वो set
हाँ,
किया.
next आएगा, so we'll do that next time, because he's in this chapter, काफी लंबा chapter है ये. So but ये भूमिका बांधी जा रही है. Like Bhagwan is going to say that how to see God with our open eyes. Open eye meditation कैसे करना चाहिए when we see. But we have to understand the core of it, right? Where it came from, what it is, then we will have a more respect for it, what we see outside. So that's why is भूमिका बांधी जा रही है. Sorry. Because भगवान ने बोला ना कि मैं अभी, I'm going to tell you again, listen to me carefully, because वो सारा preparation किया उन्होंने chapter 9 तक, सब कुछ अभी और भी उसको open up कर रहे हैं, So it's, I think that Gita is a very, very beautiful flow in it, yes. Any other question, comment about this? I hope everybody kind of got something out of it. It sounded very confusing, right, in the beginning. But I hope we simplified it.
I'm still thinking about it, Umaji.
That we have to think, Naresh ji. Until we have a mind to think, we have to keep thinking. That's a good thing. But confusion, you have to keep on clarifying it. That's the main thing. Thinking is very good, but we don't want to be sitting in a confused state. So if there is any discussion, comment, question, then bring it out. Because not too many of people, you don't ask all these things or comment, but I think we should, in case if you have some confusion. It's good to clarify it.
Umaji, I have a question.
Yes.
Usually when Panditjis do some sort of a puja, they always ask for Gotra.
Uh-huh.
Is this somehow related or not?
Not to this. Gotra is more, there was somebody had put that like we are Agarwals, right? So I can tell you from our perspective, we have 18 Gotras and we cannot marry in the same Gotras because there's a genetic pool and they want to stay away from it. So it tells your lineage. That's all Gotra does. And sometimes the lineage can be connected to a Rishi because हम लोग सब ऋषि की संतान मानी गई है, right? So Garg Gota, there was a Garg Rishi and all that. And it always comes from the father's side because there is I don't know the whole science behind it, but The father is the one which I think that the gender is decided by the male, whatever you call it, genetic, printing and all that. And that's why, so Gotra was to identify and not have mixing in the wrong way so that you have some genetic diseases, and also they were very scientific. But I don't think that in this context they are anything to do. I'm sure the Manu Smriti वगैरह में होगा गोत्रा के बारे में, right? Because yeah, it is part of our living, and that is also part of creation, and that's why he added the 14 Manus, and they are the one who will explain to us that, I'm sure वो laws वहीं से आया होगा कि भाई नहीं करना चाहिए, because they were also scientists only. These Rishi Munis in our olden times, they were scientists. And they did both the kind of science, the material world also, they did the science for that, and the internal world. See, आजकल the problem is that the science means material world. अभी धीरे they are going towards the consciousness, like Joe had put that talk. I don't know how many of you listened with this Swamini, and she did a great job. She gives courses in India as well as in America. They have, in big universities, they have consciousness as a subject now. And they are doing their studies and investigation and all that. So it's slowly coming to that. But in our olden days, the Rishi Munis were all scientists.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Okay. So we can close Bhagavad Gita. सर्वधर्मान् परित्यज्य मामेकं शरणं व्रज अहं त्वा सर्वपापेभ्यः मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचः हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम.